This week's item is from MSNBC News Services, July 10th, 2007, with the headline, Catholic Church Reasserts Its Authority. The following are excerpts. Pope Benedict XVI has reasserted the universal primacy of the Roman Catholic Church, approving a document released Tuesday that says Orthodox churches were defective and that other Christian denominations were not true churches. Benedict approved a document from his old offices at the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith that restates church teaching on relations with other Christians. It was the second time in a week the Pope has corrected what he says are erroneous interpretations of the Second Vatican Council, the 1962-65 meetings that modernized the Church. Benedict, who attended Vatican II as a young theologian, has long complained about what he considers the erroneous interpretation of the Council by liberals, saying it was not a break from the past, but rather a renewal of church tradition. The latest document restates key sections of a 2000 document the Pope wrote when he was prefect of the congregation. Dominus Iesus, which set off a firestorm of criticism among Protestant and other Christian denominations because it said that they were not true churches but merely ecclesial communities and therefore did not have the means of salvation. Christ established here on earth only one church, the document said. The other communities cannot be called churches in the proper sense because they do not have apostolic succession, the ability to trace their bishops back to Christ's original apostles. Despite the harsh tone of the document, it stresses that Benedict remains committed to ecumenical dialogue.
Dave, lots of problems with this document. Number one, well, first of all, it's not surprising to us. When the church has a council, it is, according to the church, the Roman Catholic Church. Oh, and by the way, for those listeners who may be interested, I was a Roman Catholic for 30 years and really a pre-Vatican II Catholic. That I left the church sometime after Vatican II, but it never really affected me. But Vatican II, as a council of the church, is infallible according to the church, so they can't make mistakes. They can't change anything.
And it just quotes prior councils.
Exactly. But what was different about Vatican II is the interpretations, which now Pope Benedict XVI is straightening out. The liberal interpretation was, well, you could kind of do things really based on your conscience more than based on what the magisterium of the church taught. So a lot of ideas developed within what you'd call liberal Roman Catholicism.
Right. This whole document that was read, that Gary just read, it's an insult to anyone with any intelligence. Stresses that Benedict remains committed to ecumenical dialogue. Now, after he's just told you that all other churches are wrong and the Catholic Church is the only one, but we'll discuss it further, guys, but they have given you the bottom line. So what is the ecumenical dialogue? What is the point? It's just nonsense. And then the paragraph before, you guys can't trace yourselves back through apostolic succession, but we can, Tom.
They can.
Is this a joke book he's writing? I mean,
well, not for those who have accepted it totally because the church says so, and that's what I did for 30 years, Dave.
But Tom, still, what does the church say? It'll take you back to, yes, there was a time when there were three popes who,
great schism. Exactly.
I guess this pope fought against that one, and this one bought his way in, and this one, it was the emperor who threw him out and put in another pope. Apostolic succession. Now, if there were apostolic succession, if they came from Peter, then Peter would lay his hands on the next guy, and he would lay his hands on the next guy. No, I mean, Tom, well, you know as well as I do, this is what a story. There were popes who had, I don't know how
Right,
many.
it had sons who became popes.
Right, yeah, right.
So
Exactly.
how does that work with
Exactly.
the so-called sacrament of holy orders?
Yeah, and they married their children in the Vatican, there in St. Peter's. They were some of the most evil monsters that ever walked this earth. There's no question about that.
Right, and this is history, Dave. You're not making these things up. This is church history.
Tom, it is such well-established history. It cannot be refuted. So then how can Benedict XVI, how can he say, oh, but we trace our apostolic succession back to Peter? It is a fraud. I mean, it's, Tom, oh my, there were popes who had, more than one pope, who had both the mother and daughter as his concubines or whores or whatever.
Mistresses, right.
Mistresses.
Yeah.
There were popes who were murderers.
Dave, let's shift gears here very quickly
Yeah.
with the time that's left. What about movements within evangelical Christianity, like evangelicals and Catholics together? What would you think this would do, or is doing, to that kind of dialogue?
Tom, words don't mean anything.
That's right.
today.
It's going to do anything.
Yeah.
Okay, they'll just keep plugging away, keep undermining the faith once and for all delivered unto the saints.
Yeah. It doesn't matter what you say. Oh, we're going to be friends and we're going to work together. Well, actually, we can work against abortion together. We can work against child abuse together and so forth. So that will unite us. But that doesn't unite you in Christ. So, no. Tom, I'm sorry. I get just a little bit upset because...
But explain this just simply. Rome has a false gospel, a gospel that denies what Jesus Christ actually accomplished for our sakes.
Absolutely. Outside of the Church of Rome, there's no salvation, and you cannot...
This document just supports that idea.
And you cannot be saved apart from the Church. You don't get the benefits of Christ's death and resurrection on your behalf. By faith in Him, you must go through the priest. You must go to the Mass where Christ is being offered again.
It begins with baptism, isn't it?
Absolutely. You got to be baptized even to get in.
Yeah. So this is a false gospel. That's our great issue here. Mm-hmm. And for this man and this document, which is just reiterating the way it's always been, you've known that, I've known that the Roman Catholic Church claims to be the mother church. It is the church. And everybody outside of that is either, Vatican II calls them separated brethren, but really second-class citizens, and just...
Well, they're not going to get to heaven.
Exactly.
For more information about the Berean call us toll-free at our order number or visit our website